To new and experienced authors, a book series can be overwhelming. It can feel like an impossible task. But usually the benefits of a book series far outweigh its pitfalls. So today I want to talk about why commit to a book series, pros and cons. A book series is one of the most effective ways to create superfans. It also means you only have to develop your major characters and settings one time. But it does take a commitment on your part. This is Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping authors like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers. Because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. Let's start with building those superfans. Superfans are readers who not only pre-order your book, they read it as soon as they get it. They tell everyone about your story. They give it as gifts. These are the people who are going to dress up as your characters when they go to Comic-Con or Halloween parties. These are the fans we as authors usually love to meet because they're just as excited about our work as we are. However, superfans don't just randomly pop out of nowhere. We do have to help cultivate them. Authors can do that by interacting with these fans at things like author readings or other events, through our email lists, or through social media. Another way to cultivate them, though, is by writing a book series. Because superfans often fall in love with a series, not a standalone novel. It takes time for that kind of excitement and love for a character or story to develop. It can take multiple books. That's why superfans tend toward book series. Other type of readers like series too. For similar reasons, they like to be able to return to the characters and places they already know they enjoy. They already know they like that type of story. So it's not like they're taking a chance on some whole new world you've invented. Also, we live in a binge society. People like to binge read just like they like to binge watch things. What that does mean, though, is you're going to have some readers who will not start your series until you've finished it. That's because a lot of readers have been burned by authors and series in the past that were never finished. So they invested their time and energy and emotions into a story, and there was no payoff. Readers really don't like that. I don't like that. Marketers know it is a lot easier to keep a customer than it is to create a new customer. It's a lot easier to keep a customer trying new things that you're creating than it is to convince them to try it for the first time. The same goes for readers. It's a lot easier to convince a reader to read book 2 or 3 or 5 than it is to convince them to read book 1. This is why we write series, is it means we get to keep our customers and our readers. We're not constantly looking for new ones. We can cultivate and keep our old ones as well. Next, let's talk about how you only have to work hard at development once in a book series. A huge bonus of a book series is you only have to develop your major characters and setting one time. Then you get to play with them. You get to throw them into situations and see what happens. This is particularly useful in static book series, which are all about those characters. They're really character driven, and the characters arc really slowly. So if you develop your characters well in your first few books, in your later books, you get to deepen them. You get to look at the different facets of who they are, their different nuances, and watch them grow in little steps. Similarly, when it comes to settings, you only have to do the hard work of creating a mental map for your reader the one time. After that, you can give them reminders of those settings in later books, so you're not having to spend large descriptive sections on that same setting each time. This will keep your pace moving, which modern readers like. Also, I do know you're going to have new settings in each new book, but you're likely going to return to some old ones as well. Another aspect of that setting building really comes into play when you're writing something like science fiction or fantasy. In these genres, you are likely developing your own technology or magic system. When you write a series, that gives you lots of space to explore these technologies and magics that you've created, to show your reader the different rules, the different nuances of how they work, of how different people interact with them, and what they are capable of. So it gives you time as an author to kind of show off the world you've created a little bit more. This is particularly useful when you're writing an anthology book series, because anthology book series are ones that are connected by a place, either a specific town or a specific science fiction or fantasy world. They're not necessarily connected by plot or characters. So in that case, that world development is really what it's all about. So when you write a book series, one of your biggest advantages is only having to do that character and setting development one time for 3 books. Whereas if you wrote a standalone, you would have to do those 3 times for 3 books. Next, I want to share how book series help when you fall in love with and hate to leave your characters. After I finished my first novel, I was ecstatic. I had written a book. But I was also a little bit sad. I had fallen in love with my characters and my story, and now it was over. That book is a standalone. I didn't leave room for the story to continue growing. I didn't leave any loose threads or open characters. It's over. You might have had a similar thing happen. If you write a book series, it's not over. You get to return to those characters, to that place you've created, to your fantasy world. I will say it doesn't often work to expand a book that was originally meant to be a standalone. A lot of times authors will try and split that sort of a book into 2 or 3 parts, and then they'll just add fluff. No one likes fluff. No one likes tangents, unnecessary details, conversations that go nowhere. Readers like a tight, fast-paced book. So just extending a standalone novel is not the same thing as creating a series. If you're thinking about writing a series, think through your idea before committing. Make sure there's enough story there to carry more than one book. You might need to do a little bit of plotting or outlining, or you just might need to take a long walk and really think through everything. Then decide how many books you might have. If you're going to commit, you need to know how much time it's going to take. So while series do allow you to return to those characters and settings that you love, not every book and story is meant to be a series, and it's up to you to know the difference. I'm going to go into how to tell in future videos on book series. For now, I want to leave you with some tips from an editor on book series. Writing a series is not easy. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes commitment. So if you're not willing to do that, don't start one. One of the worst things you can do as an author is to start a series, publish some of it, and never finish. When you do that, you break your reader's trust, and they're not going to read anything else you write because they don't trust you to deliver on your promise of an ending. They don't trust you to finish what you started. So if you're going to do a book series, you have to finish. If you don't think you can do that, a book series might not be right for you. Another thing about a book series is when it comes to traditionally publishing, publishers are probably not going to take a chance on a new author with a series. They want to try you out on a standalone first. While this can be a little annoying, it's actually a good thing because you should be trying out your publisher too. They might not be the right fit for you, and you might not know that until after a book is out. Or they might get bought by another publisher or go out of business, and then your series is stuck in limbo. So it's a good idea to start with that standalone. If all you have is a series, try and craft it so book 1 could work on its own if your contract doesn't continue and they don't release any other books. That way, readers don't get mad at you. Because publishers don't like to start with a series for a new author, it's become standard practice when querying agents or publishers to say this is a standalone with series potential. That basically means this is really book one, but it can work on its own if we decide to part ways. So if you're traditionally publishing, remember a series might not be what you get published first. That might be the second thing they work on. If you're self-publishing or going the indie route, you have a little bit of a different beast to contend with. Readers who are into self-published fiction are voracious. They read a lot, and they want your books fast. You might not want to start publishing them until you have most of them ready to go. Readers are not going to hang with you if you release one book in a series every few years. They're going to forget about you. You're going to lose your marketing momentum. You're going to lose your readers' momentum. They will have moved on to another series. So you do have to be able to write, edit, and publish quickly, or be patient and wait. A good rule of thumb if you're self-publishing is to release 1 to 3 new books in a series every year. That can sound like a lot to a lot of people. The other thing indie authors do is what we call a rapid release, where they release a new book every 30 to 90 days, and they get their series out there really quickly. This works. It's a proven marketing strategy, but it can be overwhelming if it's your first series to think about having it ready that quickly. So if you can't commit to getting them out that fast, self-publishing your series might not be the way for you to go. Or maybe you're just not ready for that series yet. So those are some of the pros and cons, some of the nuances of writing a book series. I'm going to talk more about book series in future videos. For now, what's your favorite part of reading or writing a book series? Share it in the comments below. And to learn more about book series or other aspects of writing, subscribe to Ignited Ink Writing, a channel dedicated to helping authors like you transform your writing so it lingers with your readers, because writing that lingers gets remembered and recommended to others. I'm Caitlin Burvey, editor and writer. To find out more about me, go to www.ignitedinkwriting.com. There you will also find a guide to building strong settings, which will help you develop the world or setting part of your book series. And now it's your turn to use a book series to build super fans, to give you the opportunity to develop your characters and settings one time, and to return to your favorite story and ignite your ink.